Hello YouTube, this is Derek Culver back again with some awesome production value. So what we got going on today is another Dreamscape workflow walkthrough, and this is a foreground that was shot by my friend Sarah, who is an awesome photographer and a really nice girl. She's got some really great shots. Go ahead and check her out. Not too long ago she posted this picture and I saw it, and immediately when I saw it I knew this would be a great Dreamscape uh, foreground. So I went ahead and asked her, and she was totally fine with me using it. So shout out to Sarah, and this was actually shot by her friend Olivia. So if you watch this video, go show them some love. Some pretty good photographers, love their work. This foreground reminded me of my friend Kyle's shot, which I've always really liked. Let me show you. Kyle Hoffman 52, where are you at? There you go. And this guy is my little buddy. He's a astrophotography prodigy, I think. He never posts, but when he does, he's got some sizzlers for the feed. So here's his shot. And so the foreground that I'm going to use reminded me of this one. It's pretty similar. It's sitting on a ledge, overlooking some cool stuff, and I really liked his Milky Way. And although his Milky Way is backwards, I think, from where he shot it, it still looks really cool. I was thinking of doing a Milky Way that's shot here in North America that looks normal, where it's vertical and Rho Fuki is off to the right. But I think it might be better to use a shot that I got in South America in Chile last summer, because Sarah is from Australia, so it makes sense. It would make sense to use this one more. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to do that. And so what I had envisioned for this one, I thought maybe we could put some clouds down here. Maybe some like really fancy cloud blend where I use a shot. So here's the sky shot that I was thinking of that I shot. Here is one that I don't think I'm going to use, and then here's like a sky shot that I got in Zion that I was thinking of doing some like crazy blend. I'm going to go ahead and drag them all into, because I already got a couple. So I've got this one. Here's the clouds down below, and I already brought it into the file that I'm going to be using. Okay, I can go ahead and close this one. Okay, so I'll get to this one in a minute. So we go ahead and bring them all in here. So what I had pre-visualized, I had a couple things. I'm just going to mess around with it. And I like it. Like I said in my last video, don't always have to have everything pre-visualized. You can just come in here and mess around once you do your masking and throw some shots in. So I was thinking maybe of having these clouds down below like this, where they're down below, and then potentially, well, maybe not these ones. Originally I was thinking of doing something like this, where it's a sunset and then I stretch out like clouds and everything coming out and like blend a Milky Way, or just blend stars and a moon and make it look all dreamy, kind of like if you've ever heard of Kellen's World, kind of that style. But I was thinking more of just a hard blend where it's just clouds down below. Then maybe I do some sort of cool little light thing and some gradients coming down here. And then I have this Milky Way rising above Sarah. So I'm going to go ahead and try doing that. And I already masked the foreground here, but I'm going to go ahead and punish myself and do it again so I can show you guys what I did. So let's go ahead and get started. I already named this one integrity foreground. I'm gonna go ahead and grab these ones and put them in a folder, call them sky. And so let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and copy this foreground, rename it. Let's get with the fun stuff. Let's get with the masking. So I think again just the magnetic lasso will do. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab all of this. I'm going to come in here, use the plus, grab most of this, and then hold on Alt and hit the minus, what I talked about in my last video. We just come in and use the magnetic lasso and keep refining it, and Photoshop kind of does okay, sometimes still shoots the bed. Let's see. I don't know if I like this, so I'm going to go ahead and hit Control D, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use color range. And before I do color range, I feel like this picture is too similar, where I want to grab Sarah here sitting on the ledge. Which, by the way, Now that I look at this, this looks kind of crazy. Girl, that looks... What are you doing? Do it for the gram, right? Do it for the gram. So, anyway, this... I was looking at this, and the tones match too much. So, I was thinking what I would do, and this is a common trick that I'll use for some selections, is I'll have the originals back here, and so I make this extra foreground shot, or this foreground layer. I'm going to go ahead and do some adjustments. So these tones and the colors and everything are too similar, so what we can do in this adjustment is we can split them up. So we can add contrast. Maybe I want to down the black point. Up the high. Okay, so I want to split this. So I want to add contrast to the image, and I also want to split the foreground here. So I'm looking at this foreground, and I'm looking at the sky in the background, and I want to just do adjustments like it's okay. Yeah, so this one's still a little more orange, and around here is blue. And then I'm actually going to restart this, so I'm going to go a little bit more blue, purple. Yeah, like that. I'm going to add contrast. Go ahead and add contrast. Bring up the shadows. I want to lower the black point because here is way darker than behind her actually is. Up the shadows. Lower the highlights a little bit. Okay, I'm actually going to lower the clarity as well. And I'm going to bump the saturation and the vibrance because that helps boost the color difference between the different tones. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and press OK. And this is a throwaway layer. I'm just using this for the selections because it has more split up tones and colors. So I'm going to go ahead and go to color range, select color range, and I already have one in here that I already did, but I'll redo it. So I dropped the range because the range makes when you're clicking with the dropper, the range makes things less localized, and we'll do everything universally. See, I just click right here, and it's just showing up on the mask where I clicked. But if I up the range, it'll show what I click there and apply it universally across the picture and everything in between. And then the fuzziness is more of just a local feathering, local intensity of the selection. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit the dropper I got there. I'm gonna hit the plus one. I'm gonna go ahead and start adding on to this selection. And I'm just clicking, or I can click and hold. I'm actually just gonna click around in this area. I'm gonna click on her head up here and her feet, grab all that. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to the -1 now. I'm gonna click the minus in the area as well. I'm just gonna go back and forth between the plus and the minus until I get like a pretty decent foreground. Yeah, so that Photoshop is learning. Intelligent AI, it's learning. Okay. Good. So I'm not going to worry about here because what I can do is I can come in down here with the magnetic lasso where I had an easier time than up here and do a bunch of selections, that, make a selection and then paint onto the mask with that selection. So I think, yeah, that's doing okay. I'm just going to click a bunch. I'm going to be careful. It's kind of touchy. Yeah, that's looking better. Yeah, Photoshop is, oh wow, I get so happy when Photoshop doesn't shit the bed with this kind of stuff. Okay, that's good enough. And so what I'm going to do, real quick, shout out to Dan Greenwood for this technique that I'm about to show you. It's a really, really great way. So it's a really great way to hit the foreground selections really precisely. So I'm going to go ahead and go save selection, foreground color range. And Dan Greenwood is awesome. I'll link him at the end of the video along with Sarah and Kyle. Dan Greenwood photography. There he is, Daniel James Greenwood. He's amazing. He does private lessons and everything. And I remember when I first started with my astrophotography, I had really great shooting techniques, but I had just god-awful processing techniques and editing. And this guy we came together, and this guy taught me so much. I was a student for the longest time, and now he's a good friend of mine. We're actually running workshops together this summer. So those will be up on my website once it's done, so stay tuned for that if you are interested. So I'm gonna get back to this, and this technique is awesome. So I can go to my, okay, so this is the one that I had before. I'm gonna go ahead and delete that because I'd be cheating. So I'm gonna go ahead and go on this guy, and I'm gonna paint directly onto the mask. I'm gonna hit Control Well, what I have here is I already have the mask selected, and I'm actually going to hit B. I'm going to keep this selection, go to a white brush. I'm going to go about 60%, and I'm just keep clicking around kind of in the safe areas of where I want on the picture. And this is kind of the same as using an overlay brush, but I'm just going to use the same selection. Just going to keep clicking. Yeah, this is low. This isn't very risky. I'm staying away from the edges. I'll get there in a minute and show you how to do that. Let's see. I'm just clicking in all like the core areas. Real exhilarating stuff here. Masking in Photoshop. Killer. But it's essential. It's essential. It really is. Okay. So I'm going to hit, I'm actually going to keep going. I want to keep the details of her face. I can be messy with the rest of the foreground because I plan on doing that mostly dark. The rest of the foreground will be dark, but I'm going to keep the detail in her face and her kind of sitting here. So I want the masking to be not janky like it can easily get. So I'm going to hit Control D to lose that selection, and I'm going to come in here with, I need a harder brush. Come here with a hard brush and just paint away all the core areas that are definitely pretty far away from the edges. Go ahead and paint away here. Touch a little bit here. Okay, so like the face detail is pretty easy. This kind of hair stuff. Actually, no, I'm going to go back. I don't like what I did there with this selection. I think I'm going to do it a different way. Okay, I'm just hitting Control Z a bunch of times. I'm going to hit Control. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and delete this. We can restart. So I can just go back, go to Select, Color Range. I go to Save. Oh, no. Color range, I'm going to go ahead and hit OK because it has the same selection that I already had. Go to Select, Save Selection. I'm going to go Try Hard because I'm going to try hard this this masking right here. So I'm going to hit Control D, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in. See, now I can see what the color range actually did. You can't really get a detailed look in the actual color range. So I'm going to hit. I'm going to try this again. I'm going to go to color range. I'm going to add more onto the face. So now that I know that right here was a little bit janky, I'm going to up the fuzziness. I'm going to come in here with the dropper and hit it to try to get a little bit more accurate. I'm going to hit the minus over here. Again, maybe I don't have to worry about down there because I will show you in a minute. So, oops, Control Z. I'm going to add on to her socks here. Oh my gosh. This looks like right. I can just come in and manually paint this a little bit. So I'm just clicking. I'm being really careful so it doesn't shoot out a lot. Yeah, okay, that one did. But the one before didn't. Okay, plus plus, and now I come back in, hit minus in this area. I'm going to try hitting the plus again here. Real exhilarating stuff here, masking. Oh boy. It'll get better. Hopefully, hopefully. So, let's go with this color range, and then I'm going to go select, save selection, try harder. And I'm going to go ahead and delete the first. Actually, I'll show you. So the difference, I'm going to hit Control D, lose that selection. So the difference here. Yeah, that makes a big difference. Even though I have all this kind of stuff, I can fix that. And it's easier than trying to come in here and fix this, in my opinion. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete try hard. I'm going to go try harder. And I'm going to come in with a normal brush, 100%, and it's hard. I'm just going to paint in the easy stuff. It's kind of like a coloring book where, as a kid, you know, with coloring, you would just go in and paint all the easy shit first, and then you would go around and do the borders, or vice versa. It's kind of a preference thing. I like to do the core first before I do any of the rest of the edges with this masking. So come here, just rough paint around here. I'm gonna try. I've definitely got to try hard around here. So I'm gonna come in and paint like this. get the boots. In the last video, if you remember, I was editing a silhouette and I was just totally busting up this guy's hands. It was bad. I started making him look all deformed and everything. I'm pretty bad at painting. I'm on a mouse right now. You can probably hear the very, very rapid clicking when I'm doing things, and it's not ideal. I do have a Wacom tablet. I'm just scared of making the transition right now. It's intimidating, but I know everybody loves Wacom tablets who uses them. At the same time, this is why I'm a photographer, because if I was a painter, this feels like digital painting. If I was a painter, I have to be a photographer. Painting, I just have the finger/hand dexterity of like a drunk lobster. It's bad. So this is the closest to painting I'll ever get on these masks. Real exciting. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about it down here. Just gonna come in and kind of paint the core stuff. And good enough for me. I get a little bit easier with this over here. Okay, I'll get back to that. So now I'm going to go to overlay, and overlay is a great way to do this. And this blew my mind when Dan was showing me this, and this is a really great way to come in and refine a mask. Is overlay will affect the so if I have a white brush, it will affect the white pixels more than it will the dark pixels, the black. So if black is 0 and white is 100 and gray would be 50, if I paint, so if I come in with, I'm at 100% opacity, and this is pretty intense, if I paint, so here's black and I paint across like this, the black isn't really going to be affected, the gray will be slightly affected by, well, definitely affected by white, and then the white will be totally affected. So it affects things in a feathered sort of way. So here it's all, I can take a black brush and I can paint right here. It doesn't really affect the white. It affects this edge, and then it definitely affects the already dark stuff. So it's really great to come in and split the mask up. So I can come in right here and go, overlay is at 50%. I'm going to make it softer. I'm going to come in and I'm just going to kind of click away right here, and I can paint quite greedily on these edges right here without having to worry about too much of the white spilling over into the sky part of the mask. And then I can come right here with black, paint it away. And so I can come back and forth and go white, then come in black. And if I was being really lazy, I could go like 60% black brush and just go whoop. I'm going to try 100 so I can really show you. So I go whoop, and that was 10. I go 100% and I go woo, and it paints away most of the white, and then I come back with a white brush and it paints in most of the white back. And so that's a really good way to do it really quick. But what you can do is you can be more careful with your brush strokes, and you can also lower the opacity of your brush, and you can come in and you can be, and so if you go a lower opacity of the brush and go like black, and then come in, go white here, black here, white here, and if you do a really detailed job, it more accurately splits up the pixels here between black and white, and you'll get smoother edges. So take the time and go white, and I can come in here and go black. Try to be careful. Maybe go like 30%. Black. Yeah, painting away all in right here. We'll go to like 50%. Speed this up, and so I'm coming in here, and it's just such a more accurate paint job in here. So I come in right here, paint in some of the hair. If there's other ways to mask in this hair stuff right here, but I'm not gonna. That would take really long time. You can do a bunch of masks like edge refinement and do a bunch of crazy things with multiple selections and masking, but we don't. This is really zoomed in. We don't really need to do that. So I'm clicking all right here. And it's just filling in the white parts, and it's really relaxing. Sometimes we can stress out about masking, and then you come in and have an easy time with the overlay. It makes your life just that much better. So I'm going to be a little more rough for the sake of time. So let's keep so this is the last detailed part, and let's keep the shoelaces. Let's keep it detailed. So I come in here, white, I'm gonna come in here with black, paint it away. And remember what I said in the last video where I said it's okay to lose more sky than it is to gain sky. Or I mean, it's okay to lose foreground than to gain sky. No, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay to lose foreground and gains. No, yeah, you recede your foreground. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's 11 here. Give me a break. So it's okay to lose foreground. It's totally fine. It's better to do so than gain a bunch of sky, because in sky it looks janky. Receded foreground looks totally fine a lot of times. So I'm doing an okay job of this. Okay, real exhilarating stuff. Masking, it'll all be over soon, I promise, I promise. Okay, that's good enough for for our purposes here. Oh no, gosh, my inner OCD just won't let me. Oh man, so it's gonna bug me, but I'll deal with it. I'll deal with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this back on, and we can see the red overlay. It's doing okay. It picked up a little bit of sky around her hair, and it did okay around here. What we can do in this area, it's more just smooth stuff. So I can turn this off, and I can take my magnetic lasso and make an easy selection of this part of the foreground. And the magnetic lasso does a great job on these areas. Oh, actually, magnetic lasso did. Oh my gosh, it did so good on the boots and everything here. I'm gonna have to come back in and fill this in. Okay, yeah, I think I'll do that. Let me just refine this magnetic lasso. So these two types of selections in tandem can be really powerful. And if you use a bunch of different types of detailed selections and precise selections, they can be extremely powerful for you. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, save selection, temp selection. Oh, wow. Let's go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go into layers here. I'm going to hit Control D. And what I'm going to do here is, okay, I got to keep these ones on, is I'm going to go ahead and fill in right here what I missed with the shoes, because I trust the magnetic lasso did a pretty good job. And I'll go 100%, I'll go normal, I'll go like 80%, and I'll just, what? Oh, I need this selected. So I'm going to go ahead and come in here and select paint all this in. I'm going to avoid that sky in the middle part, because I can come in, okay, see, it kind of grabbed that right here, but what I can do is I can come in and I can refine my mask later using the edge refinement, so that's okay. So now, okay, that's our selection. I'm gonna go ahead and select it, go up here, and so this one's gonna be selected. Oops, sorry to confuse you guys. So this one right here is the temp selection, and that's what I have selected. I just hit Control and clicked on this. Control D, it goes away, deselects it, hold on Control, click this, and I got it. So now with this selected, I'm going to go on my try harder mask, and what I can do is I can just go white 100% brush and just paint it in, because it selected everything perfectly on the rocks. Paint it in. So now how do I get rid of this black stuff over here? Hit Control D, go to my temp selection, I'm going to hit Control I and reverse it. So now I can select this, go back to my try hard mask. Actually, I'm going to deselect this. So go back to my try hard mask, and so the temp selection is inverted, and I can go ahead with black and do the opposite and paint away this stuff. So that makes it looks pretty clean so far. Control D, go ahead and paint some of the rest of this in. That looks good. Okay, so now when I take my try harder mask, and again, remember this foreground was a temporary selection for the tones and everything. I'm going to go ahead and grab my original integrity foreground. I'm going to hit Control J, and it's just going to take what was selected, which was the mask that we made for the foreground, and make a copy of that. So here we go. We've got our foreground. It looks pretty good. Actually, I don't want to do that. And here's why. Because the mask wasn't perfect. I needed to refine it once or twice more. So now I can go ahead, I'm going to hit Control D, I'm going to hit Control J, copy this guy. I'm I'm going to go ahead and throw this one out. I'm going to go channels. Try harder. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take this mask, select it, go to my layers. I'm going to throw it on to this one right here. And so what I want to do is, oh my gosh, I got to paint back in her femur. Oh boy, what have I done? Okay, I'm on overlay. I'm going to go 60%. I'm just going to paint it in right here in her shin bone. I didn't totally mean it when I said you want to lose foreground. You don't always want to lose foreground, especially if it's a person. You'll make them look all demented. Don't do that. So there's two different edge refinements that I want to do here. I'm going to go ahead and grab all this. Did okay. I thought I would have done a better job with magnetic lasso, but the magnetic lasso, it's been kind of janky recently with his recent updates, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint in just a little bit right here. I can click this one on and off to see what I lost and if I want to bring anything back. See how it kind of juxtaposes against, so I got this selected and I turn this on, it brings back some of the boot that I want. So I know, okay, I need to paint here. Or I can just hold on shift and click that and it does the same thing. So I'm going to go more like 80% overlay. Grabbing all this back. Okay, and I'm grabbing a little bit of sky, but that's okay. So now, grab a little more of this. Okay, that looks good enough here. This is going to be the focus of the image with her and then whatever's going on in the sky. So I'm going to hit Control J on this, copy it. And so why I just copied that is because what I want to do here is I want to make a refinement for this, the boot area, but I don't want it to affect the rest of here because the parameters for this refinement are not going to bode well over here. So I'm going to go ahead and double click this one. And I'm going to go, let's see, radius, shift edge, drop it a little bit. I'm going to mess around with these, and this is kind of a preference thing and depends on the situation. You just got to figure it out for yourself, to be honest. I don't know how to explain this. So I want it to recede. I want more to recede. Okay, that looks better. Not perfect. Oh wow, I lost the shoelace. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to come in right here. I'm going to shift this off. I'm going to go to color range, select color range. I'm going to go blue. And I'm going to go ahead and up the range a little bit. And with this selected, what I can do is I can shift this away. I'm going to go to view, show, lose the selections because I don't want the marching ants. I'm going to go like 60% with a black brush on this mask. Let me rename this. This will be boot mask. Fine. So I'm going to go onto this mask and I'm going to paint away the blue. So I only have the blue selected. It's like a reverse color range where I have the blue. And it's kind of working. Oh, I have it on overlay. That's why. Actually, I can keep it on overlay. I'm going to go to normal. It's kind of working. I'm going to hit Control D. I'm going to go to select. I'm going to go color range. I'm going to up the fuzziness. So now when I do it, it's going to be, should be a little more. Let's go. Oh, actually. Oh, I wasn't select. Okay, so I need to go here, select color range. I was actually on the mask, not the actual image. There we go. Now this should work. So go view again, show, do not show. It's kind of working. Some situations it works better than others. So yeah, it's kind of working. Or you can just come in and do what I do. I think I'm some master masker, but usually I end up going pixel by pixel in some masks when I want to be really thorough, and I'll just paint it out. So I'll just go 100%, pretty hard brush, and you can like literally come in here. Oh, I see why it isn't working. Because I had that mask in behind it that was tricking me. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. I totally shit the bed right there. And deselect. I'm going to retry this. So I need to turn this one off. And then what I need to go is I need to go back to here, select color range. There we go. I'm on the blues again. I'll actually drop the fuzziness. So what was happening is, so I went and turned this off. and I had the black brush ready, but this was showing up behind it. So even when I did an adjustment on this mask, this one was still keeping everything there. So, oh yeah, that's way more. So I'm gonna go like 30%, where the hardness. And it's still grabbing too much of the boot, but that's okay. Just go around the edges. It'll help me just be a little more refined when I come in here. Draw around. Okay. I'm gonna come in here and paint this a little bit more. Paint some of this back in. Okay, I can live with that. I can live with that selection. Or can I? Yeah, I can live with that. So let's go up to the hair. Boots are fine. I'm going to add back in the hair right here. Did an okay job. There's a little bit of blue fringing. Paint the, yeah, paint in around here. Okay, that's perfect. That'll do. I don't even think I need this one anymore. I think this one was fine. I was going to do a bunch of edge refinements. Maybe I still will. So the concept of this is maybe I want to refine this edge, but I don't want it to affect over here. So what I can do is turn this one off, and I'll call this rock refine. And I'll come in here and do this edge thing. And I don't want it to apply universally, and I'll take care of that in a minute. So I'm just going to go radius a couple pixels, shift the edge back, feather it, smooth it the heck out, add a little bit of contrast. And okay. So whatever you see, that pulled it back too much. But let's say I want this to happen. What I can do here is I can bring this one up. Okay, so I need this one. So what I can do here is I can throw this one in a group and throw this one in a group. And what I want to do, I'm going to name this one Rock Refinement. I can add a mask to this group layer, and then so wherever this one is happening. Actually, let me add it to this one. So what I can do here is if I want this one to apply to everything down here, and I don't want this one which is on the upper layer to apply to everything down here, I can go on the group mask now, and I'll hit it at 100% black, and I can paint it away. So now everything in the group here is affecting everything, but the group mask is not allowing it to affect down here, just where I paint it. So it allows you to kind of control where you want your mask refinements to go, and you can theoretically have hundreds of these. So this one, I don't want this one to affect, I want it to be down here, but I don't want it to affect around here. So I can go on to the rock refine and paint it out of the shoe area. Yeah, it's adding a bunch of stuff that I don't want around here. So I'm just painting it out on the group mask. Oh, I'm at 10%, that's why. It's not working very well. Yeah, I'll go to 100%. Yeah, here we go. Now it's working. Now it's really working. So this rock refine is only going to affect the rock, and it's not going to affect where I wanted it up here, which is, I'll name it Sarah. I'll name it Sarah foreground. Okay, so now we got these two, I can just hold on shift, click them both, and just control E and merge them together. So now I have my foreground. So I'm going to name this integrity again. I'm going to name it foreground masked, and it'll be kind of my background. It'll be my background mask that I can refer to. But this one I'm going to go ahead and make it look like night. So I'm going to go filter, camera raw. And what you want to do with these sort of daytime photos that look nighttime is you want to crunch the dynamic range. You want to kill the dynamic range. And how we do that is we drop the exposure a ton, but we bring the black point and the shadows up, but we keep dropping the exposure. And so that'll bring the highlights and the whites and some of the high midtones back towards the low midtones and the shadows, and it'll bring and this is bringing the blacks and the shadows towards the highlights and everything. And then what you want to do is maybe lose some clarity, make it a little bit more blue, because blue is usually foregrounds are blue at night. And so the reason why this works so well is every foreground you see at night most of the time when people are shooting single images have a really low dynamic range, because most of the time if people aren't compositing, and most of the images out there aren't, you see high ISO used on the foreground, lots of noise reduction, and you don't get the dynamic range. So you want less dynamic range in some situations. like this. This is a specific one. Up the contrast back again once the dynamic range is destroyed. Okay, so go ahead and leave that. So I don't want Sarah silhouetted. So what I can do here is I've got this one all darkened, is I can make another foreground, Control J, and I can bring this one up above it, and I can throw a filter on it, and I'm just going to look at Sarah. I'm just going to look at her sitting there, and I'm just going to make an adjustment using this filter on her. And I'll show you in a minute is I'll be able to just paint this one in really easily. So I still want to make it look like nighttime, but not as dark as I had to make this. Up the blacks, up the shadows a lot. And I want it just balanced. Lower that. Up the whites, the highlights. A little blue, a little purple. Not too much purple. I'll keep it a little brighter, and I will actually up the clarity. Now I want to lower the clarity. Okay, that works. So now what I do here is if I just want to paint this in, I just hold on Alt, throw in a mask, and I can paint it in. Just right here. So I'm going to go 20%. Yeah, I can just come in right. Okay, so I just want to be careful. It's a pretty easy paint thing to do right here. So it's pretty separated from the foreground. So I can come in right here. Go like 40%. Just paint it in. Oh, no, I want a softer brush. I don't want to go like 20% and be careful because I just want to paint like the details back in where she's at. Go 10% down here. So yeah, now when I go in, it's painted back in, and I can actually just brush this whole. Let's see. I can also throw a mask on here and then paint a little bit of darkness out in the reverse fashion, but that looks kind of janky if I do it here. So I'm just going to do it in the hand, a little bit in the darks, and on her legs, which are completely dark. Okay, and I can lower the opacity of this one, or I can come back in on the mask and paint it in. So this way, doing it this way, versus some people will go in here and they'll be like, oh, okay, I made everything dark, and then they'll go with brightness contrast, maybe inverse the mask and turn it up to way bright or whatever, and then they'll come in and try to paint brightness back in. But the thing is, when you're painting brightness back in on dark pixels, it looks like shit, and you lose all your dynamic range. I mean, you lose quality actually at this point. Like painting it back in will make it look all gray and shitty. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do it that way. You want to do it this way. Is way easier, and it's way less destructive, because if I think that this isn't balanced, I can just throw this away and make another copy right here and then try again with the adjustments and everything. But I'm pretty content with this. Actually, maybe I'll do a little bit more. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So now we can start focusing on the sky. And so what I need to do is bring in, let's see, I already have my skies in here. So I can go ahead and close these out now. What I can do here, so I was thinking, actually I need to bring all these skies below this foreground. And real quick, what I'm going to do here is these ones aren't, so this isn't 100%, but if this was 100% mask, I could just merge these two together and that'd be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and make another foreground mask, bring it up here just to get anything that fell through these two masks, grab them all, hit Control E, and merge them together. So now I've got a nice solid foreground that I can mess around with. So I've got my skies here, and I was really thinking like clouds zooming up, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Maybe I could do something. I could grab some of this light right here and stretch it out and gradient it up, and have a nice transition from these clouds down here into the light and then up into the stars that'll be up top. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab this guy. Let's see how we're doing on time. Only, okay, 40 minutes. I promised to get this one to be have this one a little bit shorter, but we had to go through all the masking shit. And maybe I won't go through the masking stuff in my next video and just go with like artistic edits and assume you guys kind of picked up the masking. So I'm gonna stretch this guy out and make it a little bigger, a little more fluffier. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna use the magnetic lasso. And maybe I could have refined that mask over there. It's bothering. Oh gosh, I'm so anal about the masking. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab these clouds. And with the magnetic lasso, yeah, that looks fine. So what I can do here is now I can grab this guy and put it behind, and then I need this one behind. So now I can have this gradient right here. I can pull it behind the clouds. And then I can stretch this one out because it's just regular. It's just a regular picture of the sky. And this was I don't remember where this was. Actually, I do. I think it was in Misty Badlands, and there was like, that's the Earth shadow. So it's kind of cool. I can make it a little bit taller. Now I really want it to gradient out. So I really want to zoom out and stretch it. Maybe even more. I'm going to stretch it even more. Oh gosh. Okay, I think that'll work. So now what I can do on this one, because I stretched it out so much, it's going to be really garbage quality, is I'm going to go to filter, and again, what you want to do is Control J and make a separate one, just so you have like a non-destructive workflow. But maybe this one is it's kind of an easy adjustment. I think I'm just going to put some noise reduction, and I can come in later and do some things with it. So the filter's preparing. Oh, support it. Oh my gosh, I stretched it out too much. Here's oh, how often does that happen? Okay, what I'll do here is oh my gosh, I'll just use the little ellipses tool right here, the marquee tool, and I'll kind of just make a selection of this, and then I'll mask it so I only have this, and then grab this guy. And now I can stretch it out so it won't have all those excessive pixels, but it'll still have what I wanted, which was a lot. Let's see. Oh, it's going to be so stretched out and weird. I think enough noise reduction will work and just make it blurry enough, because all I want is the gradient, really. Transforming. That's so ugly. So I don't even know how to lose the mask. So I just make a separate adjustment layer and hit Control E and merge them together. So now when I go here and I go filter camera raw, try this again. Loading. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna go to this panel, which is sharpening and noise reduction. I'm just gonna go to town on this. Color, yeah, smoothness, just noise reduction, the shit out of it. I don't know if you'll be able to tell in the video, but there's just, the noise isn't terrible. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I can see it's grain. That's okay. This will fix it. Good old Photoshop doing its thing. This is bothering me so bad down here. Okay, with this not destructive workflow, I can come in on this and I can remask it. And I can just come in here with a brush, go with a hard one. I'll go 100% in black, and I can just go like, okay. Oops, it was white, so I need to go black. So I can go ahead and paint away right here. And the problem is the clouds aren't showing up now, so I can go ahead and grab these clouds and just stretch them out a little bit. Yep, that's fine. Boom, done, fixed. Okay, so now we can start blending in the stars. And so what I want to do here is make a copy of it, slide it up here above the sky, and really lower the opacity. And so I can hit control and select both of these, holding control and click both of them. So now with this selected, I can hit control T and I can move them both around. But this one I'm just using at a low opacity as a kind of place cursor so I can see what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead, stretch it out, and I still got the Magellanic clouds over there. Maybe I can fit it into this. I'm going to flip it horizontally. No, I'm going to keep it how it was. So I'm going to go ahead and escape, control T, go back. Yes, looks okay. So I'm not going to be able to get the Magellanic clouds in here. Maybe I'll just, looks okay like that. Tilt it a little bit. Control and grab up here. Okay. That works. I'm going to go ahead and enter. And it's going to take, oh, it's going quick. There you go, Photoshop, do your thing. So, ooh, let's go. Okay, so now what we can do is here, this is still my holder, what's going to show me where everything is. So now I can go ahead, I can keep this one pretty low opacity just to kind of know where the Milky Way is. I go ahead on this one. Actually, I'm going to go right here. I'm going to go with a mask, and I'm going to go black brush. I'm going to go like 20%. I'm going to go ahead and start painting. Oh gosh, I need to go soft brush. I'm going to drop the canvas down on this too, so don't worry about this up here. So I'm going to go ahead and start painting it in. Maybe I'll go back down to 10%. I'm going to go ahead and kind of paint around here. Does it still look like such a hard brush? I'm going to go 5% actually, and so I'm just going to do a lot of strokes so it looks like a really natural transition. And I'm going to go ahead and paint a bunch of this in. Okay, I'm going to go 10%, paint it down, and instead of doing it, you could just do a gradient on the mask, but I want to have total control over what's going on. So I can turn this one off and see, okay, that's kind of what it's looking like. So yeah, I can go ahead and, oh, I'm at 1%. Let's go 15%. I'm going to go ahead and paint all this away. Go 10%. Paint away. Come on, Photoshop. Why are you being slow? So I like to manually paint. I'm gonna go 20% actually. I'm gonna paint over here. I want maybe 40%, and I want to just hit up here. Oh wow. So maybe 25%. I'm gonna go up here, paint it away. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and close the canvas out. I'm kind of liking it's okay. I gotta maintain that ratio 4 to 5. Lost the star out there. So go ahead and crop it. And so now what we can do is you can just play around with the masking on the clouds, just kind of blend it in. And so with this workflow too, what I would do here now is you can do a bunch of artistic edits. So we did all the masking and shit is the hardest stuff. The artistic is really fun because now we can come in here and I can go ahead and grab a hue saturation, or maybe I'll go color balance, and I can clip it holding on Alt and clicking in between. So now this will just affect that. So I can go ahead and I can make it really red and like purplish, blue. Yeah, I can make it look like that, and then I can also add a vibrant saturation and just lower the saturation on it, or maybe lower the vibrance. And now when I do the colors, it'll look a little bit different. So now you can just mess around with this kind of stuff and kind of do what you want. You can make it look all green and shit. It looks terrible. Let me try this again. So you can make it look all green and everything and what you want to do. No, I like the blue. I like the red actually. I'm gonna go with red. And so now what we can do is do all the, so we're doing all the fun edits. So now I'm going to grab this one, go exposure. I'm going to clip it onto that guy. I'm going to make the clouds darker. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the exposure. I don't know if I like this adjustment. Yeah, I'll drop the exposure quite a bit, and then I'll flip the mask, grab my brush, and I'll paint it in where I want it. So I actually want it to be darker on the horizon. So a lot of the times at night, I know this isn't like super realistic with the clouds, but a lot of times you want to make your horizon darker when compositing, and then gradient out to where what's closer. Like the midground is a little bit brighter, and then the foreground is brighter than the edge here. The edge, I call it the far ground. So like this would be far ground, this would be kind of midground, and this would be foreground right here. So just keep adding that. And let's go on this guy. I'm going to grab a filter, camera raw. And I'm going to desaturate it and make it look more white. I'm going to go ahead and drop the color balance to the blues. I'm going to go to the actual blue channel and desaturate it. I'm going to keep going with the blues here in the slider. Maybe add a little bit purplish. Ooh, no. Blue, I can come into the actual individual channels. I can move the red hues around. You can mess around with the color balance. Or I can do the same thing and clip a mask on it like I did over there. So I can go actually up the black point, up the whites, lower the, I actually want exposure down, blacks up, shadows up, this down. I'm going to slap a bunch of noise reduction on it because this was like a handheld shot up at so I was up on Haleakala volcano, and this is right when I started. I still use old pictures like this, and I was handheld like shooting star shots, and that was like 70 millimeters, and the moon was out, so it was pretty bright, but just kind of ridiculous. But it turned out to be a cool cloud shot that I could use in future, so that's great. Oh, it's way too blue, so I'm gonna clip a color balance here, and I'm gonna make it less blue. Maybe I'll do a vibrance as well. Actually, I don't like either of this. I don't even like what I did with the filter here. I'm gonna hit Control Z that. And I'm gonna go filter again, camera raw. And let's try to make it match the tones that are up there. Go blue, a little bit of purple, lower the vibrancy. Yeah, that looks more white. I'm gonna lower the clarity a lot. Add that noise reduction back in. See how this one works out. That's a little bit better. Okay, I can get down with that. So now I'm just going to go back to this mask. I'm going to paint in more of the Milky Way. So just painting in the Milky Way a little bit. Kind of a hazy look to it. Hazy look. And maybe the reverse would be just putting the Milky Way here and then paint, like doing an all black mask and like painting the haze back in. Okay, and so now I'm going to go back to this guy. I'm actually going to drop the exposure because this is too bright right here. Inverse the mask after I flip it and lower the brightness. Now I can just come in here and paint it on where I want it. Maybe I do want this silhouetted. Yeah, maybe I do. Actually, I'll go ahead and do a, where you at? I'll do an exposure one, which is way more intense. I'll just drop the exposure, up that, and paint it in. Keep her face a little bright. There we go. I like that way more. And I can go like 5%, and I want this to be a little more silhouetted up here. Maybe I'll go 20%. I want black. Okay, I need to go white. Always make sure you're on the right color when you're painting it in. Okay, so if I silhouette this too, I want to add a little bit of depth. And if I keep this right here a little bit in focus and a little bit with the colors, it's a little bit bright, and then I lower that one, it'll add to kind of the depth of the photo. So let me actually paint most of this out. And then let me start again. I'm just naturally going to hit the horizon up here, and I'm going to slowly fan it down, mostly hitting the horizon. Okay, that looks way better, I think. And I can also bring it in. Let's see what it does down here. Oh, it's not affecting the clouds. Derp. So that's fine. Okay, so I've got this. I can actually just merge these together, or I can leave them out, kind of depending on your file size and what you want to do, but that's pretty non-destructive because I can always come back and redo that kind of stuff. So here we go. Let's go to these edits. Let's go to the fun edits on the star. So I'm going to go to Filter, Camera Raw. Let's see how much time I have left. Oh, I got to wrap it up here. I can't be doing these. I go in hours. Thank you for drudging along with me with this. So appreciate you sticking with me. I hope you guys, if you enjoyed it this far, good for you. Hope you learned a bunch. So I'm going to go ahead and do a bunch of Lightroom base edits. I'm going to get rid of some of the chromatic aberration. I just come into lens corrections. You want to mess around with the purple and then the blues a little bit. Oh, a lot, actually. No, I don't want to do it too much. So the thing is, when you're doing chromatic aberration corrections, is you can really kill. So I want this star to be gone, and that chromatic aberration is terrible, but these little stars are fine, really. But if I up the purple too much, you create these like blocks around the other little stars. So you have to be really careful. You can actually do more damage doing chromatic aberration stuff. So before any color work, you kind of want to try and address the chromatic aberration if you have it in your pictures. See, if I do that, it's too much orange, and I can kind of bring it back by doing it. No. Let's go to green and then up the blue. It's not doing anything. I'm not going to do any chromatic aberration stuff then. That's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, I like to drop the exposure a little bit. Not too much. Drop the exposure, up the whites a little bit, and then lower the highlights. Okay, here we go. And then I'm going to come into lens, where are they at? Yeah, lens corrections, and I kind of want to vignette it a little bit. And then I'm going to come to, let's see what the dehaze does. This just kind of adds contrast. I actually want it to be hazy because I want these clouds here to kind of match. So if I actually haze it up a little bit, maybe I'll do that. And then, so here, I'll do that in a sec. I'm going to leave it here. Let's mess with the color balance a little bit. Okay. I kind of want it to be purplish, not too much. Okay. I'll leave it like this. That's way too blue. Okay, this is fine. Let's see what that does. And so again, I have a non-destructive setup right here. If I do this one, I can always turn it off, and I can always paint it in. Like if I don't like it around over here and what it did, yeah, it kind of adds too much contrast with the transition between the clouds. I can make another layer here. I can go to Filter, Camera Raw, and I can actually haze it up and do more of a match edit for around the borders of where the mask is. So now I can go, Make it a little orange, a little more purpley. Oh, I actually like this all around, I think. Add whites, I'll up the shadows. And I wanted that dehaze, so I actually want to haze the shit out of it. Not too much, just a little bit. And I can also lower the contrast. I don't know. Okay, I want to lower the black point a little bit. Lower the clarity. And I want to add a little bit of noise reduction to make it a little more blurry. And noise reduction is something that you usually want to do with your Milky Way shots. I'm not going to go into this because I use a completely different noise reduction, usually in PixInsight, but the Photoshop noise reduction does a pretty good job. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to mask this, and then I want to make it around where the borders are, and then I want to mask this one and make it more in the middle. Okay, yeah, see, that's a softer transition between these two. Okay, so I'm going to up this one, put a reverse mask on it, and I'm just going to paint it in. I'll go at like 40%. I'll paint it in right here in the parts that I want to keep, like this core detail. Okay, and I can also come back to this mask and paint more of the Milky Way in. I actually want to paint this back in up here because I kind of want the haze up in the corners. I'll paint it away down here. Okay, and so now from this point, you could basically just do a bunch of like selective edits that you want, like contrast and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to go ahead and hit Control Alt Shift E. And then from here, I'm just going to do my own like selective edits and everything. So I guess I'll wrap this video up. It seems like I got pretty boring in the second half of it, but it's kind of necessary. Hopefully, as we go forward into these Dreamscape series, that I can just start talking. I can do all the masking and just tell you what I did, and you kind of have a sense of what I did. You can explore in the first two videos all the masking and boring shit, and with that all down, it'll just be easier, and we can go through some more like creative and fun edits. So I'll try to focus on that in the next video. Thank you all for tuning in on this one. I appreciate all the support and everything. I'll link my Instagram and all that kind of stuff and everybody I mentioned here in the description. Go ahead, subscribe, like, whatever. Really appreciate it and help me out. Looking to do more of these. So, and also give me feedback. I love in the comments here on YouTube. Not so much on Instagram because I can't get to all of them, but on YouTube here, if you go ahead and leave comments about what you think I can improve on or what you think you want me to talk about and all that kind of stuff, or any suggestions, critiques, whatever, fun stuff, leave it in the comments down below. And also hit me up if you have any foregrounds that are really interesting like this and you would maybe want to see them in a future Dreamscape video. So thank you guys again for tuning in. I'll talk to you soon.